Hey everyone, what we're going to do today is, in this real short clip, is going to understand how OneDrive, Office.com, SharePoint and Teams files are essentially the same thing, but they are labeled differently. How OneDrive, as we've learned before, is pretty much the same as Google Drive, but you've got a few more add-ons to control and automate things in OneDrive that you can't automate in Google Drive very easily. Office.com, what Office.com is useful for teachers and students. SharePoint, which we can ignore. However, the URL for Office.com, sometimes when you go to OneDrive, it's labeled OneDrive on the page, but the URL at the top is something like Bangkok Pattern School .sharepoint.com, and then Teams files and how they look the same. So I'm going to go into a split screen again. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to open up in a second with a split screen. So here we are in OneDrive. So this is something familiar to us that we've seen, that we see daily. Inside OneDrive, it performs the same way as it does in Google Drive. However, we talked about the differences here, where you get an activity panel here inside OneDrive automatically. You have your folders down the side, as you do with your locations, as you do on Google Drive. So My Files, Shared, Favorites, Recycle Bin. And you can search by people, and you can also search by media now as well. So this is actually quite handy. So I've got lots of screenshots that I save, and it's automatically sort of kept it in like a photos area, and the media that's within attachments and things like that is quite handy. Then I've got quick access to my Teams. So we're going to use this in a second, because inside here this links directly to the files section within your Teams, your pinned files, planning, admin, all that kind of stuff. So if I make a new, so this works just like Google Drive. So you can get slides, docs, and sheets. So docs, slides, sheets, and then you've got some other bits and pieces in here, sort of forms that we were using in Google Forms. You can use Google Forms. You can use forms in Excel, and they're particularly handy and straightforward, and they work. There are differences in there that we can talk about later, but essentially, again, it's essentially the same. Search, you can search by files, you can search by people, you can search by time. You can search across the whole organization like you can in Google, and then you can filter with each file type inside here, just like you can in Google Drive. So how is this different to Office.com? Because as I mentioned in the intro, you can see at the top here it says my.sharepoint.com. So this is where things can get confusing, because if this is OneDrive, how come OneDrive is on SharePoint if it says SharePoint at the top? Let's try to ignore SharePoint as much as possible. Let's just focus on this and it being the same as Google Drive, performing the same as Google Drive, and you're able to go and edit your files and do things to your files in the same way as Google Drive. The difference is it's the filtering and the organization that is different. So when we come over here into the app launcher, we have all our online files here. So we have essentially docs, sheets, slides, and then you have the whole place for all your documents inside here. So what I'm going to do is just go into PowerPoint, because it'll probably be the one that you'll use the most. So I'm going to go into PowerPoint like I did before, and then it filters out all things in Office. Ignore the URL. Has all things in Office that have been used that are PowerPoints, and it will do the same for Word documents. And so this is where we edit files in OneDrive. So OneDrive is the store. Office is where everything's made. So when I go to Office, that stores everything and just shows me every single document that's here. So it doesn't filter. It just gives me everything right here in Office. So it's not PowerPoint, it's not Word, it's not Excel. OneDrive though is everything plus you've got quick access. So they are essentially the same. This one is just stored. This one has all files. So regardless of the file type, it'll all be here. So if I've uploaded, say, a 3D printing file to here, it would be in here as an obscure file type, but it would be stored in here. It would not show up in office.com. It would not show up in PowerPoint. It would not show up in the other places because it's an obscure file type. So how does this look when we go into our Year 6 teachers? So we've got all our documents in here, and we're also able to go and just manipulate things, add shortcuts and that, and then you're able to go to the SharePoint place, which it will show you how it looks in the background. Okay, so why is this here? It's because we're able to go and drop things in here real quick, and we can go into the channel itself. So this is the files that are added at the top, and I can just drop into the channel from here. So what I'm going to do is just go straight there right now. Then let's go and click on the link to the channel where I can go and get these files, and let's go and have a look at them. And I think let's go the one I'll just open it up in, which is here. So then my files are in here. So this is just sort of a skin basically, and a replication of the things on OneDrive, which in the background is obviously SharePoint, but we don't need to worry about that. This is just OneDrive, and everything's in here now in the same way that it is here. So when I go to General right now, I can see everything inside here. These are all my general conversations, all the files within General. So I can go into here and then go and find all my planning, all my folders, and everything else that I need in here that is also within that Teams folder too, which is there. So if I edit something in here, it will appear in there. Okay. So I can upload a slide in here. Not that I would want to go and mess this up, but this is just for example. This can be in any folder I like. So this slide here, it's got the little call out to show this item is new. Let's pop into here, and then I'm just going to go and quickly refresh this page so that it will show that slide, and it mirrors this area here. So when I go and delete this, let's go and remove it, delete it, delete, and then I can go into my area, and then if I refresh this page, it'll delete. And that'll be the same for students as well. So if you have a student channel and you have files in there, you can go and quickly go and put files directly into your classes, and you can have a structure like this if you wish. So that's how they look very similar. So all these files here, so you can see in my general, my literacy, my maths, so I can go and see the files within those areas here. So those files there in maths, true or false, true or false. So it's just mirroring each other. Lastly, this is just for like an FYI, this is just for your information. You don't have to do anything about this, but this is just going to it's going to help you perhaps understand how and why this looks the way that it does. Okay, so let's go to this site. This is SharePoint, and you can see that it looks very similar. The difference is that here, when you come home, this is your channel. This is sort of like your feed. It's like your inbuilt web page of updates, links, you name it. It's occurring here. Okay, so you can see like the feed of everything that's here. And it's just in the background. You don't have to do anything with this in here. The difference about SharePoint though is that it is made purely for your groups to go and interact in sort of a one-stop shop. And so the people in this team can actually see what's going on. You also have your documents and your bits and pieces and your notebook and what have you inside here. So later on, further down the line, you start to use Microsoft a little bit deeper as a team. You would probably start to use a notebook, for example, for managing meetings, minutes, and just being able to make sure that things are searchable within an actual document. One thing I did talk about it really early at the very beginning was the difference in the recycle bins. You have personal recycle bins, and then you have channel recycle bins. And you can see that this one here is me deleting it. You will probably see this as well if you go into the recycle bin in the SharePoint. But it means that you can go and search for people inside here that you say, oh, have you got a file? Do you remember what it was? I deleted that. I'm sorry, I didn't think I needed it. It's fine. I can go and find it in here and go and search in this team recycle bin. I think this is extremely handy and a great fail-safe for you to have. But SharePoint, you don't need to be in here, but just to know that your documents and that and the structure, just like general literacy and that for this team, is all here in the same way. You don't need to touch SharePoint at all, really, so you can ignore it, which is probably helpful. So that's kind of it. The last thing I will say on this, though, that while you're in OneDrive, there are things that you're able to do in here, and that is monitor files. So you can automate things in Microsoft in a way that is very difficult to do in Google Drive. You can get add-ons for Google Drive, but they generally cost money. Inside here, if you click on the three bubbles, let's say we're in our channel documents and we're in general, say for example, and there's a folder in here that you want to just you know that someone's going to be adding that file to that folder, but you don't need to sort of pester that person. Oh, have you put that folder in there? I just want to be able to use it at lunchtime or whatever. You can click on the three bubbles and you can go to automate, rules, create a rule, and then you can see in here when a file is added, you can see that something like this, you can get an email and you can explore this and you can have a look at this. So when a file is added, when a file is deleted, if you know it's a really important folder, maybe a file is deleted, you go, go and check that recycle bin. You can go and do this with automate. Okay, something for those people who are confident can go and explore. Right, we're at 12 minutes. Again, this is longer than I expected, but as always, good luck with these things. And if you don't have a full grasp of it, that's fine. Or if there's something you want to explore a little bit further, that's fine too. Get in touch with me, and I can do things in class, in situ, with my class, your class, all together as a group. So please get in touch.